Welcome back to Mindful Moxies. This is season 2. We are kicking things off with a big one, money. In this episode, we're diving into money genealogy, where your beliefs about money come from, how they shape your life, and most importantly, how to rewrite the story so you can create more abundance. Let's go.
Be mindful of yourself, be mindful of your wealth, be mindful of your health. You need it, just take a breath, it's your life. Live it, be your best, stay box free with your mindful moxie.
We are your Moxies, guiding you through the messy, real, and empowering journey of personal growth. Welcome back to Mindful Moxies, and welcome to season 2 of
Season 2.
Season 2 of Mindful Moxies. Isn't it great? What a great milestone.
It is a great milestone.
It is a great milestone.
We're going to celebrate that milestone.
Yes, because we're not hugging our gifts. We are here giving them to you. I'm so proud of you, Luly B.
Thank you. I'm proud of you, Adrianna Foster.
And we are so grateful to all of you guys who listen to us in a podcast and audio, who watch us on YouTube, who left comments, who have reached out and have subscribed to our episodes. Thank you. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you for the support. Thank you for sharing. I know that a lot of you have shared it with your coworkers, with your friends, with your family.
That's the really cool part for me when people are saying I'm sharing this as a resource, or this is what my best friend really needed.
Oh my God.
That was like so cool. That gives me chills. Yeah.
And our commitment always is to be here and be your Moxie, your hype girl, the girl that reminds you your worth, who you truly are, and that we guide you towards your light so you can live a Moxie life as well.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm into that.
In season 2, we have a lot of surprises. We have a lot of good stuff, but we are going to kick off this wonderful season with an amazing series of one of the biggest topics that I feel that we as women struggle with, and that, you know, we need a lot of support. So tell us, Luly, what are we going to talk about?
So we are going to spend the next few episodes talking about dun dun dun.
Drum roll, please.
Money.
Money must be funny. Yes, because it's so hard. It's challenging. You know, a lot of people, a lot of women specifically, we struggle with our relationship with money, right?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of things, right? It's our relationship with money, charging what we're worth, figuring out how much to spend, how much money, what pricing we should set our services or our product at, whether or not anybody's going to pay for that, when to allow things to be free. It's too much, it's too little. What are people going to think? What are they going to say? And so the opportunity in the next few episodes is we're going to dive deep into all of those things. But we'd love to kick off by talking about how this all started, right? How were you raised? So it's called money genealogy. What is your money genealogy? Were you raised in a home where you heard things like money doesn't grow on trees, you have to work really hard? Were you raised in a home that's like, we don't have the money for that, we don't have the money for that? Were you raised in a home with quite the opposite? You want that? It can be bought. You want that also? We can buy 3 of those. You want a new car at the age of 16? You're going to get that. You want the trips to Europe, or you want the Louis bag? You're going to get that. So again, not that any of those things are air quote bad. It's understanding your money relationship so that then we can have the conversations for everything else. So we're going to kick off today with money genealogy.
It is so important.
Yeah.
So important. In my experience, a lot of the times, everything that we have in our lives is a reflection of what we believe we deserve. But specifically our relationship with money, in my experience with my clients, a lot of the times they feel that the problem is on the outside, right? And don't get me wrong, we do have certain habits in money and the way that we manage money. You know, it's a yucky topic because there's yucky feelings around it, because we don't live in a society where we can openly talk about it. There's a lot of yucky attachments to it.
Right.
But because of that, we feel like we have to go on the outside and fix it. And again, that might be true. However, it's very important to understand, where does it come from? Our story with money, our own personal idea of what money is and what we believe how we believe money gets to manifest in our lives.
I'm just thinking right now, Adriana, if you had to finish this sentence, money is, how would you finish that sentence?
Yes, let's do an exercise. Like, really, if you're watching, listening, if you're driving, don't close your eyes. But if you're not driving, close your eyes. And let's do this right now, Luly. Like, just take a deep breath. Money is the first thing that comes to your mind. What is it? What is money? How do you recognize money? What came to your mind?
For me, money is energy.
Yes.
And money is experiences and memories.
And it's true.
Yeah.
Money is energy. Money, it's just a type of resource, just like water, like air. It's a resource that hangs around us, and that we, depending on what we believe money is and the value that we set on money, and the attachments emotionally, spiritually that we have in money, that is energetic container that we create for it, and that is how it manifests in our lives, or we create it in our lives. But it all depends on how do you view it, how did you learn to have a relationship with it, and how close, healthy or unhealthy your relationship with it is. And it all comes from your money history.
Right. And so in my case, I was raised by immigrant parents who had a lot at one point in their life, and then everything was taken away from them. And then they had to rebuild their lives. So I very much, and let's use one example. I was raised, if it's on your plate, you're eating it.
Yes.
Right? You have to eat everything on your plate. And if, you've watched enough episodes, you know that in the episode of Celebrate Everything a couple weeks ago, I shared that I celebrated that I did not eat everything on my plate. I did not eat everything on my plate.
Yes.
Because I was already full. And so I have a habit today of overeating and overindulging. So that was something when Adriana asked me at the end of our episode what I was proud of and what what little win we could celebrate. I decided that that's what I wanted to celebrate.
Yeah.
So that was an example of how the conditioning and how I was raised, because there was a time, especially my mom, that she was hungry, that she was eating, the Spam, the canned ham, and peanut butter, which was what the U.S. government was giving them, and they were getting very creative with what to cook with the Spam and what to cook with the peanut butter, and obviously extraordinarily grateful. But coming from having everything to having nothing, and I'm sure that was something that was very impactful for my mom. So she raised us very much. You have to eat everything on your plate. Well, what that transcends to now is, not only in my money mindset, but it happens in my food, and it also happens with my FOMO.
Yes.
I have fear of missing
FOMO.
out. So this all comes from scarcity, which we're going to get to scarcity and abundance probably a little bit more in the next few episodes. But again, going back to my money story, my money genealogy was, my parents worked hard. I heard work hard a lot. Again, an incredible value that my parents instilled in me. I think I swung the pendulum a little bit too hard at times with working hard. I did hear money doesn't grow on trees a couple of times, but it was probably more around food or things. And also just time with family was really, really important. So I learned, while I had a very privileged life and I had a lot of opportunities and experiences that my parents sacrificed to give to us, I also understood and appreciated those sacrifices and the value of money.
Got it. And I'm curious, how did that translate in your own personal story with money as you became independent and a business owner? Like, how do you see those habits from your mom or from your dad manifested in the way that you manage money?
Yeah, I think I had to save. So that was really, really important, because from one day to the next, everything was taken away from them. So it was very much living in anticipation and making sure that I was being responsible and doing my due diligence and being a few steps ahead. But I think also I've been so self-aware that I recognize that I also had the opportunity to indulge every once in a while. I feel like I have a very good relationship with money. More recently, especially, after my divorce, I think there were a lot of challenges because I wanted to maintain my son's lifestyle. and I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it. And I think because of the healthy relationship I have with money, I was able to get through it, believe it or not. It ended up, it wasn't so much about the money as much as it was about my mindset.
Yes, I was going to say, you nailed it. I was going to say,
Thank
it's not,
you.
this is so important because I really want you guys, or we really want you guys to understand that it's not about the money.
That's right.
The money, I mean, we get it. We all have needs. We all have bills to pay. We all have things that we have to do, right? We have to pay the rent. I get it. But it's not about the money. It's about the mindset. It's about what you believe money, or how you believe money comes to you. So in Luly's example, she came from a family that hardworking and saving and accumulating money was part of the process of growth. And as you grew, I imagine you went through the process of understanding how to let go and how to shift that. And this is why you were able to do all the things that you did while getting a divorce with your sons, whatever. Yeah. But it's something that you had to be aware of, right?
Yes,
that you have to become mindful of,
1,000%.
This doesn't serve me anymore.
Yeah, and I think, I do have an abundance mindset, and I think that helped a lot, which I know is going to be another episode. But I would love to turn it to you, my friend, and I would love to hear how you grew up and the shifts you made in your money mindset.
Well, this is why I was asking you, because my story is very, very different.
I know.
I grew up in a family that my father was a very, very hard worker, and he had a lot of ability to create opportunities and to create abundance. I was raised with trips and malls and shopping and private planes. It was easy for me at the beginning to have this relationship with money. However, because of that, there wasn't, in my experience, there wasn't like money education. I never had money education. I did not know how to make money. I just knew that money was there. Money was available.
It was available.
And it was easy. And that's a good thing, right? Because of that, I think like a big thing that my father instilled in me is that everything is possible. My father was an entrepreneur his entire life. So everything is possible. Whatever idea you have, you can make it happen. Think big. I'm a visionary. But the downside of that is that when my father had a crisis and his businesses came down, the three of us, me, my brother, and my sister, we came down with them, right? So especially me, I did not know how to make money. And it was so hard. And I was a grown adult. I was already married. I didn't have my daughter by then. But I didn't know. And all of these responsibilities that I was supposed to learn in the span of like years, I had to learn in like 2 years.
Right. You took a crash course.
I took a crash course, and it was so hard. It was really hard. And that, I feel like, created a lot of scarcity for me, a lot of fear around money. And then I started realizing that even though my father had money and we had the ability to have access to resources, the mentality was, there was also scarcity mentality around what money was. Money was seen more like a physical resource, not just like there was no relationship. There was no spiritual relationship around money. There was no worth connected to money. So I had to work on that. I had to realize that my worth was not linked to the amount of money that I had, to the car that I was driving, to the purse that I had, that being in a setback or not having money to pay the rent one month did not mean that I didn't have any possibility. So I had to do a lot of self-worth work in order to be able to transform my relationship with money and understand that it's okay to navigate the ups and downs of the energetic flow of finances.
And I think that's so important, that we so often attach our self-worth to money.
Of course.
Right? There are people that, it's something I've always told my sons is that people spend their money differently, and there's no right or wrong way to do that.
Yeah.
Right? If you want the designer purse, or if you want first class in a on the plane, you get to do that.
Yes.
You're gonna pay now or pay later, but we all pay, and we pay in different, and the pay is in air quotes, right? Of the different sacrifices that we might have to make to do certain things.
Yeah.
Right? There are people that might have the really nice car and the big car payment, and they might downsize a little bit in their home situation, or they might not go out to eat and cook more at home. And so everybody spends their money differently.
Yeah.
And again, we're not here to judge how you spend your money. The opportunity is in understanding what is your relationship with money, and specifically, how were you raised, and getting curious. This is never about judging our parents or blaming our parents. Here at Mindful Moxies, we believe that everybody's just doing the best they can. And that is including our parents. They did the best they could with the information, the resources, and the stage and phase they were at in their lives and all the circumstances they had around them. So having said all of that, and we also attach things to that, right? We added on to those stories depending on experiences that we had. In the case of Adrianna, when she started her career, how did the money change, receiving money change her money mindset, in addition to the way that she was raised and watching her dad and her mom's relationship with money. So the opportunity for us right now as we kick off this segment is to just get curious around how do we answer that question and how do we finish that sentence, money is, and get curious, and then start the bigger conversation, which is, how does my relationship with money affect me?
Yes.
In the day-to-day, right?
How does that's perfect. Thank you for saying that, because it's absolutely true. And it's important, again, that we pay attention to it. Why? Because the way that programming that we have around money is what is going to shape what we see through money. So what do I mean by that? If depending, like for instance, in my case, right? For me, money was always there. So when money wasn't there, then for me, it was a lack of value, a problem that I had, a mistake that I made. When money wasn't there, I blamed myself because I never learned that money could come up or come down. You know, my father wanted to protect me, and I love him and God bless him. But because he wanted to protect me, he never showed me that he also has setbacks, that entrepreneurship is not just I have money and everything's great. You know, he never showed me resilience, and failure was a part of the process. So because of that, for me, money was always there. So when money wasn't there, I felt guilt. I felt that I was doing something wrong. I felt like my value wasn't there. So all of those stories, right, is what attached to money. So if I felt like I was doing something wrong, if I felt like it was my fault, then that's what I was projecting in my life. I would keep bringing situations to keep putting me in more debt emotionally, financially, mentally. I would keep bringing clients that would blame me for things. I would keep bringing chaotic situations. Why? Because I was punishing myself. Of how is it possible that I don't have money if money is always there, right? So that was a huge thing for me to be able to break that and to understand that my relationship with money and the things that I was seeing around money, how I was projecting opportunities around money, had everything to do with what I believed about myself.
And what you were attracting.
Yes. And more than I was attracting, I love to tell my clients that we don't necessarily just attract things, we create them. So we design them, we choose them. Yeah. So I would keep choosing situations that would keep putting me in a space of guilt and chaos. Why? Because I did something wrong. So I must be punished, right? So the moment that I was able to work on, hey, no, this is part of life. Like, this is normal. This is what, failing is okay. My dad, he created like a bubble of perfection to try to protect me, to try to give me the best life possible. Right. But he really took away my opportunity to learn how to fail and how to make mistakes and how to not blame myself or see mistakes as wrong. So then when I failed, when I lost my house, when I didn't have money to do anything, then I feel like I was a failure. And that unleashed all of these chain of events that would continuously put me in these situations. So in order for me to shift my relationship with money, I had to focus on my self-worth, my ability to be a human, to make mistakes, to learn, to fail, and to see failure as part of growth, and to be able to be kind to myself and say, okay, I'm learning. I might not get it on the first try. And then when I worked on that, the opportunities start showing up because I no longer blame myself. Right. Guilt was no longer part of it. Shame was no longer part of it. And that is how my money started shifting. My relationship with money started shifting, and I started making more money. So I wanted to share this because it's very important for us to understand that what we see, if right now you're having issues with finances or clients, or, you feel like you're always kind of there, but you never have enough, It's not so much about money. It's about what is attached to money. What happens if you don't have money? What happens if you fail? What do you believe about yourself? And when you work on yourself, then you will start designing and creating and attracting different opportunities.
I love that. And, that's the reason why I answered money is energy. Marie Forleo often says, and I think, she has a book that's called Figure Outable. Everything in life is figure outable.
Yes.
Right. And I think that that's true for money.
Yes.
It is figure outable. And one thing I often tell my sons is problems that can be solved with money are not problems. Mm-hmm. Right. And I think when we start to change the meaning of things, as you said earlier, right? We start to work on and get curious about the programming that we have around money, whether it was our parents, our guardians, our teachers, and even ourselves. How are we attaching ourselves to money? The attachment to money is another piece of that, right? Do I need things to bring me joy? Do I feel like I need this? And that is a really beautiful opportunity to create that awareness, to start to pay attention. And then more importantly, how are we defining money? What does that look like? And can I start to shift into abundance, especially as it relates to the word money?
Absolutely. And one thing that we have to also remind ourselves is that money is a mechanism for instant gratification. So the same as alcohol and sex and going out and substances and food, through money, we get instant gratification. So if you have unhealed trauma, if you have a history from your parents, this is why it's important to talk about money genealogy, right?
Right.
Our parents, our grandparents, if we have a history of addictions in our family, if there's a process where our family used to avoid hard conversations, which this is Latino 101. We don't talk about Bruno, right? It's like Bruno. When we don't talk about hard things, we avoid them with food, alcohol, drugs, sex, instant gratification, and money comes in. So I see this a lot in my clients that have a problem with money, that they go shopping, or they're workaholic all the time and they want to make money. And they're like super into making money. Why? Because they are evading those parts of them that they don't know how to tackle because nobody showed them how to sit with the uncomfortable. And money, it's used as a mechanism of evasion, as a mechanism of, hey, keep you right here so you don't feel the things that you want to feel. And the opposite goes also when money is not there, it's a form of punishment. So if you feel, if you have a history in your family of being victims or being raised by narcissistic parents, that you feel like you don't have a voice, you don't have an identity, that you don't deserve things, then you will create an environment where you will stop yourself from having resources, from having opportunities, from having those doors or those open doors, so you can't have experiences, so you can't have the life that you deserve because you're punishing yourself or because you are loyal to your mother that suffered for years in abuse. And who are you to have a great life when your mother didn't? Or I see this a lot too. People that come from environments like countries that there were like a lot of poverty. They grow with a lot of poverty. These are the unspoken loyalties that we have. Who am I to not struggle when all of my family is struggling, right? So all of these are little examples of how the history that you have with money will affect your relationship with it today.
And as we wrap up this episode, one of the great bits of feedback that we got in season 1 was that you all loved when we gave you prompts either for reflection or maybe we wrapped up with takeaways or we gave you guys like homework. These people like homework, Adrianna. So I think, one big takeaway that we already addressed was, take some time to reflect and answer that, fill in the money is. And then I think the next thing is, in my childhood, money was perceived as, and then today, my relationship with money looks like.
Yes.
I think those are 3 great prompts. Do you have
love
anything
it.
you want to add to that?
Yeah, I would definitely add, look back in your history. Think about your grandparents. If you have grandparents alive, talk to them about their parents, about your great grandparents. How do they perceive money? How do they make decisions? How was their relationship with abundance in general, right? And based on that, answer the 3 questions that we're giving you.
Yeah.
And you're going to be able to understand a little bit more. Oh, well, I get why, I'm experiencing this, or why money means this in my life.
Yeah, I love that. And I would love to wrap up by honoring my mom with one thing she told me several years ago, which I really, really loved. And I stick with it when my money mindset is not at, playing its A game, which is money comes and money goes. And when it's there, you get to enjoy it. And when it's not, you buckle down. And that to me just gave me this sense of permission for it to be okay. To not always get it right, that it's going to flow back to what you were saying earlier.
Yes.
Like that for me, really provided me with that permission, with that inspiration, and just kind of was a grounding statement for me. So if that supports you, take it.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for being with us in our season 2 of Mindful Moxies.
Season 2.
We love you. My name is Adrianna Foster.
And I'm Luly Carreras.
And we will see you next week.
See you next week.
Thank you so much for tuning in. If you liked this episode, please don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, share the episode with your friends, and go to mindfulmoxies.com where you can schedule a call with us. See you next week.
Be mindful of yourself, be mindful of your wealth, be mindful of your health. You need it, just take a breath, it's your life. Live it, be your best, stay box free with your mindful